Hey there, welcome back to yet another episode of the ImpleBooks Podcast. So, recently, if you are into the space of productivity or reading books or taking notes, you may heard this term for sure. It's called second brain. So, if you're not sure about what second brain is, it's all about having your thoughts and ideas or park them sort of in a different place, or maybe it can be a note taking application, or it can be your notebook, right? So this is your second brain where all your thoughts and stuff resides. Because hey, in the book Getting Things Done, David Allen talks about like brain is for having ideas, not for storing them, right? So I will put the link of this book in the description of this video because it's my favorite productivity books as well. What's the thing about second brain? Does it work? As he said that brain is for having ideas, not for storing them. So it becomes a sort of responsibility that hey, we should park our thoughts somewhere so that we don't forget it, right? So people who are obsessive with the productivity, or maybe obsessive with the remembering stuff, right, they resort to this technique called note taking, right? So they take notes in different places, or maybe in a single note taking application, or maybe on their notebook, depending upon the people, right? So my question is, does it work? It also leads to the different kind of application installation as well. Like you resort to the installing Notion because you heard some productivity guru like Ali Abdal, Matt Devala talks about Notion. What's the thing about this second brain? So second brain is a term which specifically is hyped, I would say, by Tiago Forte, because he has a course about it as well. And Tiago Forte writes all about second brain on his blogs and talks about his his videos as well. If you read the book Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman talks about this thing called loss aversion, right? It's all about like fear of losing more instead of gaining. So we as a human have the fear of losing money. So it's not about money only. Suppose you think about we are actually losing our money from bank account instead of gaining some money suddenly appearing on our bank account, right? So this is a kind of thing, this is called loss aversion, right? We are afraid of losing more instead of gaining. It is the same for thoughts as well. We don't want to forget our thoughts, the thoughts that we get while watching a video, maybe something that we may think that okay, it is going to be very essential for us. Again, the question comes to, does it work? Right? So once we actually store our thoughts, we are actually safely forget about them. So if you think about notes, notes are not there actually to remember those, right? The actual core concept of taking notes is to forget about them, right? Otherwise this thing is going to be keep buzzing on our head, right? Because here's the thing, right? If you have older thoughts on your mind, you don't have any space for generating new thoughts. So it is very, very important to take notes and park them somewhere so that you can forget about it. And also know that not every thoughts is essential for us. So while writing down, you will slowly realize that it is not something that is worth your time. Even if you don't realize it right now, you will forget about it at some day and you're never going to touch that note. It's going to be just there, right? Okay, so don't worry about taking notes, right? Do not worry that whether the second brain thing will work for you or not. So let me tell you guys the question. Let me come back to the question actually. So does second brain works? Yes, it does work, right? Because if you store your ideas in your own words, then it does work. So while also Tiago Forte calls about it that you need to write down your notes in your own words, not something that you see somewhere in a blog or something and you just copy paste the same thing as it is on your notes, right? Maybe you're watching a YouTube video and the author is saying something and you just write it down as like a transcript of whatever he is saying exactly on your notes. So what really happens is that while you are taking notes, while you are writing down your thoughts in your own ideas, you are actually keeping a sort of connection on your brain saying that hey, this might be something important, and if something related to this one comes up in the future, there is a chance that you will remember it. Because when you're taking notes by your own hands, by your own thoughts, chances of remembering this thing whenever you need it is going to get higher, right? So, and also the more notes you take, your brain starts to create this kind of thoughts, right? So say you take a note about like productivity, or maybe some books which will increase your productivity. So you're just writing notes, hey, this book will improve our productivity and so on. Later you find out some pens, if you write using these pens, your productivity is going to be increased, right? So while you're writing them down, you may find some links or thoughts related to that other notes that you have written 1 year ago, which is about like all the productivity books, and you can link them down as well. Your brain will start to form connections. It's not about like using those fancy note taking applications like Rome Research or Obsidian and whatnot. I do use Obsidian myself, but it's not about the note taking application. At the end of the day, the more you take notes, the more you can actually form connections, right? So even if you are using these kind of fancy applications, you're not suddenly going to remember there's that note 1 year ago, right? If you did not write it in your own words, you just copy pasted something, or maybe you just add the link directly to your Notion or whatever application that you use, you're not going to remember it, right? The more you take notes, the more your brain will form connections, and the more of getting out of the notes, chances of getting out something out of the notes will improve. So hey, second brain obviously does work. And if you are not taking notes, start taking notes. You don't have to take notes on everything, but you can take notes on something which resonates with you. And the more you take notes, the second brain will actually start working for you. So that's it for today's podcast. If you like this podcast, go give it a 5 stars and subscribe from whatever app you are listening to. And if you have any questions or query, we are ImpleBooks at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. So that's it for today. Have a good day.